So hello. If we haven't met, although I know many of those names in the participant list, so I suspect many of us have met. But if we haven't, I am Marnie Stockman, CEO of Lifecycle Insights, and excited to chat customer success today. We're going to chat a few minutes of kind of theory of customer success or value of customer success. And then I will demo customer success, which is what I promised when I sent out the invite to all. If we haven't met before, I started on my path to CEO of a software company, the not so typical start as a high school math teacher, which should tell you that I probably have some skills in customer success and sales because I sold pre-calculus to 16-year-olds. So if you think about the challenge that might bring to the table, you might be able to appreciate my background and how we aim to help managed service providers deliver customer success for their clients. So that is where my background was. I ended up in ed tech and ran customer success for what is now the largest ed tech company in the world. It grew and it got acquired. So we didn't start out as that big one. We grew to that and learned lots of lessons along the way. And in doing so, thought we really wanted to take what we had learned and move it to a different space. So some developers and I were out looking for a problem to solve and where we could really scale customer success in a different world. And I ran into my friend on the volleyball court. He pointed this out the other day. We've known each other longer than my children have been alive, as he knew me before I had my son, who's now 23. So Alex Farling was an MSP that I played volleyball with. And I said, are there any problems in your space, right, that need solving? And QBRs was his problem, right? He spent 8 hours that day cobbling together QBRs. And one of the things in my background of customer success is that we feel like QBRs are really a foundation for delivering good customer success, delivering proper communication, and setting the right cadence in chatting with all of your clients. So that is truly how Lifecycle Insights landed here. We started out with our VCIO platform, and then we now have customer success. So that's what we're going to talk through today. But if any of you weren't even sure how we landed here, hopefully that got everybody a little bit caught up. So as I mentioned, we're going to get to the heart of customer success, and we're going to have two main objectives. First, we're going to talk about how customer success matters, so why it's important for your managed service provider, and what is customer success, both the strategy and the tactics. So it's one thing to have a philosophy of customer success. Some folks will say the customer is always right, or do what's right for customers, etc., as the philosophy. But tactically, we need to know what that means as well. We've got tons of folks on this webinar today. And some of you, as I said, I know many of these names. Some of you are not yet life cyclers, so I'll just call you future life cyclers. Some of you are new life cyclers, and some of you are some of our most seasoned life cyclers. I might even quote one or two of you in this today that have all these pieces and parts. So I'm really hoping that everybody gets some value and learns something new in this. But put your chats and comments in. I will certainly read them. Feel free to send them directly to me or to everyone. I'm not shy. And would love to make sure everybody gets some value out of this. And I say that for those senior life cyclers. Hopefully we get something for you too, although a lot of this I'm sure you will have heard me say before, because I certainly beat the same drum over and over again. So let's talk about how it is that customer success matters. What kind of impact is it making on your business? It lands around three things: people, process, and product, right? So as we move toward where we are with the philosophy of wanting to do right by our customers, that's the why we do customer success, right? Because better success for them is better success for you. We need to move into the people, process, and product that help to deliver on that customer success. And customer success is not new, but the way they speak of it in the world of managed services is sort of the same way there's been a shift from break fix to managed services. The goal being to move from being reactive to now being proactive. So if we think back to, when folks were just coming in, I have a problem with my computer. I need you to fix it. Fine, right? That was a one-time interaction. Versus now where you need to get ahead of them. You want to let them know before it goes end of life, a more proactive outreach of how we can help you deliver on business goals. So I think the important thing to think about in terms of customer success being proactive is the shift really started mindset wise when folks stopped purchasing your services as break fix and started purchasing it as a managed service. They went from thinking, okay, I'm paying $300 for this piece of software that I'm going to keep for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, right? To, I'm making a monthly payment tomorrow, and I'm expecting to see value immediately and every month thereafter. So the onset of customer success in general really shifted when folks started expecting immediate value. A lot of times you buy a piece of software, a heavy graphics package, and you think, okay, I spent the money, I'll invest time in it, but I might not get value straight away. It's very different when you shift to a month-over-month service. And that is why customer success as a department became a thing. You need to help your clients see value month over month. So what does that's how it started from. Why does it make an impact once we have customer success? I said customer success as a department, but I want to point out a few different things. Customer success should start regardless of the size of your organization. So let's look at these quotes and we'll talk through a couple of the thoughts behind these quotes. You've got to start with the customer experience and work back toward the technology, not the other way around. If you think about why you started selling a piece of hardware or a piece of technology or a piece of software or a service, it was solving a problem for the client. It wasn't just, I have these bright, shiny gadgets and I think you would like one, right? The whole point of the sale is to be able to say, you have a problem or a need, and we can help solve it. So in fact, right out of the gate, sales is about the customer experience. They have a problem or a want or a need, and you're aiming to fix it. Second, customer service shouldn't just be a department. It should be the entire company. So I mentioned that I'll say customer success as a department, but regardless of the size of your company, if you are a one-person MSP on the call right now, a portion of your role is to deliver customer success. Even if you've never thought of it that way, I know you think of it that way because you believe in the relationship that you have with your partners makes a difference and has them coming back to you. It's probably why you're growing, right? We hear a lot of folks talk about organic growth and word of mouth and referrals. That's because you're doing customer success. If you want to scale your company beyond a single owner, then you must have, again, people, product, and process in place to scale customer success. So typically, by the time there are 9, 10-ish folks in the company, there's someone whose sole responsibility is account management, customer success, VCIO, right? There are lots of different names for that. Beyond that, there become multiple account managers, and then there's managing of account managers. So one of the things we aim to help you do is have everyone along that spectrum have the insights they need into the actions that they need to take. So whether you are a partial customer success manager, or you are one of many customer success managers, or you lead customer success managers, I think you'll be able to see where you fit into the metrics that need to be collected and the way you need to think about your work with your partners. The last quote is my favorite. It is, the purpose of a business is to create a customer who creates customers. Our number one core value at Lifecycle Insights is to create raving fans. We don't have a sales team. Alex and I both do tons of sales demos. Mark now does sales demos, but we don't have a sales team. We don't have salespeople. We don't make cold calls. Our whole goal is to help deliver customer outcomes so that folks want to stay and invite other folks to become life cyclers. And so we know this works because 3 years ago we had 0 partners and we now have over 850 paying partners. So we know that driving value for your client will in fact drive more clients to you. So that's the whole key to referrals. And we'll talk a bit about that along the way as well. So here's some stats. You just don't have to believe the why because I said it. We can actually look at some statistics. ChatGPT can give you a whole list of them if you want to see what else is out there, but I picked a few of my favorite. Companies with a strong customer success focus enjoy a 17% faster revenue growth rate than those without. A quote I'd heard not yesterday from ChatGPT, but earlier was that if there in fact is a down economy, customer success alone can grow a company even if they don't have new sales coming in. So I think that's really important to think about, that customer success alone can help a company grow in a down economy without any new logos coming in. 76% of customers expect companies to understand their needs and expectations. Another critical one. That doesn't mean they need to have the technologies, right, for sale. It means you need to understand what the end user needs so you can align technology recommendations to that customer. And that's what really drives the relationship, the conversation, and success moving forward. And lastly, customers with strong customer success teams have a 70% higher chance of retaining customers than those without. And again, it doesn't need to be a full team. It just needs to be an active, process-oriented, right? We have a plan in place for how we're going to deliver customer success instead of the running around like a chicken with their heads cut off kind of customer success. So that's kind of the stats around the importance of customer success and what's the threat if you don't do customer success, right? If you just worry about incoming sales and don't worry about keeping your customers. I talked to someone last week who said they knew an MSP who was great at sales. And then he said, and he better be, because they leave almost as fast as they come in. So they had no choice but to throw people at the top of the funnel because they were just bleeding them out of the bottom. So customer success, one of the other stats I heard was that a 5% increase in retention can improve profitability 75 to 95% because it's so expensive to get a new client. If you can keep an existing one and grow with them, your profitability goes up tremendously. So again, if you don't do customer success, you obviously have poor customer satisfaction, which directly impacts lower customer retention. Loss of revenue, right? Not only are you not gaining, but you're losing customers along the way. If you don't have, so this one's important. It says lack of insight into customers' needs, which of course is why you're losing them out of the gate. But that's really the focus of the entire relationship. If you're just calling and checking in on their kids and not helping solve their problems, someone else is having the conversation with them. So I think that's a really critical piece. If you are not having these conversations, somebody is. And therefore, you've got missed opportunities. So not only are you missing new opportunities, but when folks leave, you're missing growth opportunities as well. So a lot of folks think I need to be a certain size before I focus on customer success, to which I would say don't wait too long. As a matter of fact, don't wait at all. So again, regardless of how large your MSP is, customer success needs to be a focus from right out of the gate. The biggest strugglers we see are folks who say, I'm too busy. I don't have time to do customer success right now. I don't have time to deliver QBRs because I'm busy with other things. It's so much harder to start a process down the road when things are on fire. You really need to take the time. It's that balance between working on the business and in the business. You need to prioritize some time for on the business, especially when it comes to customer success. So what is the strategy for this? make it about the client, be proactive, deliver value, meaning outcomes they care about. And what are the tactics, metrics that we can track, right? We have to have a process, and then we're going to track progress toward the desired state. So we're going to look at the customer experience, and we're going to track health and effort. And then we're going to track goals so you can maximize outcomes and opportunities, both theirs and yours. And if you think about it, the opportunities for you are really tracking towards stack alignment. So the three of the things we're going to talk about in the platform are health, effort, and stack alignment, along with goals and some other components. So with that, think about your QBR process. A lot of folks fall somewhere on the spectrum, right? Nope, we're not doing it ad hoc. Some clients, all clients, true QBRs. And I think there's something that's intimidating about having that anchor of true QBR at the end, right? True QBR is everybody's getting a quarterly business review, but I bet you believe, and I definitely do, that not everybody really warrants a true QBR. So a true quarterly business review is for those clients that are paying your all-in price. They're probably your $300 seat, whatever your maximum dollar a seat client is, right? Those are the clients that are paying you enough to warrant a true QBR and probably themselves need a true QBR. But a lot of us have smaller clients that aren't paying enough for it, and frankly, might cause friction if you try to go in every quarter and meet with them. So one of the first things we're going to talk about is the graph at the right. And we're going to segment our clients into who deserves a true quarterly business review. I wanted to show you the chart like this, where A and B are what we're aiming for. C, not so much. And D, well, C maybe, but D for sure are the ones we're going to really focus on what the problem is. But we're going to do this in the platform. But I wanted to get you the simple visual of what this graph represents. We're talking about value along the horizontal axis and effort or complexity along the vertical axis. So I want you to take a minute. If you've got pencil paper there, you can throw up your OneNote, etc., and draw this quadrant for yourself. Think about a high value, high effort client, right? Top right quadrant, probably some kind of compliance oriented. Oh, they require a HIPAA assessment. They require, an ISO assessment, etc. Bottom right quadrant, high value, low effort, favorite client, right? So this is, they work well with you. They buy the things that you need, and they're easy renewal ones. Lower left, low value, low effort. This is our automated cadence, right? This is our automated quadrant. And we're going to talk about what you can do with automation for these partners. And then D, as I mentioned, if you think about your least favorite partner, they probably land here because they are maximum effort, minimum value. They're probably demoralizing to the team. Nobody likes getting yelled at these people constantly. And we need to do something with these folks. We can charge them more, renegotiate so they move into quadrant A. We can find what's sticky, get rid of that 1902 server that's causing all the problems so that they can become more automated, or they're the ones we need to fire, right? But as we really dig into this and look at happy, healthy clients, we don't have many living in quadrant D. So I'm going to pop into Lifecycle Insights and show how we track this in the platform. If you're familiar with our VCIO side of the house, and like I said, I've got many, many, many life cyclers in our list, in our participant list today. This all looks very familiar. At the end, I will talk about what really needs to be rolling in VCIO in order to be successful in customer success. Because for Lifecycle Insights, you do have to have the VCIO side of the house in order to drive the charts and graphs in the customer success side. So I think that's important to note right out of the gate. I will, again, at the end, I have a slide that'll talk through the pieces, kind of next steps, regardless of whether you're a life cycler or a current life cycler. So The very first thing we will take a look at is the segmentation chart, which is the one in the top left, right? So I already mentioned what we do with these quadrants, and we really take a look at our high value, high effort clients. And these are the ones that would warrant a quarterly or maybe even a monthly business review. I had a $1.7 million ARR client. They absolutely got a monthly cadence with us. We only did a true quarterly. We only did a like executive business review quarterly, but monthly we had a senior management level business review. So it's important to define the cadence for the folks in this quadrant, because if we lost someone here, it would be sad, right? Bottom right quadrant, the thing to concentrate on is these are your high value, low effort clients. They are colored by CSAT score. So currently we have an integration with Smileback. So if you have Smileback, they would automatically populate in color. Our next two integrations for CSAT that are coming are CrewWho and SimpleSat. Oh, let me put in the chat to find the customer success dashboard. If you are on the top left where it said VCIO, if you pull down to customer success, if you don't see customer success, one of two things might be the case. You might not have upgraded because it is an additional module, so it's an expense, or you might not have the permissions for it if you know your company has it. So feel free, I'll put my email in the chat. If anybody is having a struggle with that, you can email me, and right after this call, I'll solve that problem for you, or ship you to support, and they'll solve that problem for you either way. So down here, bottom right, if I have somebody in red, and these are my high value, low effort clients, first, that's going to be my first priority because I want to keep them happy, healthy. So when I ran huge customer success teams, I would take a look at this on Mondays, and I would ask my customer success manager for this particular account what they were doing to solve the problem. You need to have an action item for the red items. The other piece is, this is the quadrant where you want to create a process for collecting referrals, right? We all just talked about the goal of customer success is to have your customers get you more customers. So if you've met Alex, you know, he and I come from different worlds. He comes from sales trained. I come from customer success trained. He is very straightforward and would say, hey, Mark, I was curious if I brought value to you today in this business review. And if Mark said yes, he would say, are there other folks that you know that might get the same value out of a relationship with me? And that's how he would ask for the referral. I'm a little less direct, and I would say, Mark, I really enjoy working with you. You seem to have your shop in order. What would make a good referral for you? I would love to send folks your way. The psychology of that is that they will probably want to send some folks my way too. So I kind of get what I want without being quite as bold about it. So hopefully, if nothing else, maybe that's a takeaway for you. Bottom left quadrant, we mentioned we're going to automate this. We're going to use our marketing system to target these folks with the same types of conversations, questions, and opportunities that you would have in a face-to-face business review, right? Either the quarterly, monthly, or semi-annual, annual ones. But we're going to do this virtually through marketing, and then once a year, meet with them. And then our top left quadrant, again, we've already talked about what we're going to do. We're going to move them one way or the other. Lifecycle Insights automates this if you have two things already set up. So if you have MRR coming over, so if you are a ConnectWise managed shop, or yes, PSA shop, or an auto task shop, we can pull that directly and automate it. And then for effort, the default is number of tickets or number of tickets per seat. So you can add any number of metrics manually, but if we want to automate it, get some things on the screen to see what the calibration of it looks like, that's the default automation. I will definitely go through A, B, C, and D again. So if you're looking in the chat, I was asked for that. So A is high value, high effort, probably quarterly, maybe monthly. In high value, low effort, quadrant B is semi-annual or annual. Get referrals from these. Quadrant C is I always say it's the tech touch quadrant. Maximize automation down here. Still an annual business review for sure, but they need communication in addition to that. And then D, if you've read the book, The Pumpkin Plan is all about moving or getting rid of those clients that aren't good fit clients for you. So I will absolutely, so I'm reading notes in the chat. We do have a Halo PSA integration. Absolutely. And then a data quality monitor. We have that request in. The knowledge base on where the data comes from. We do have a bit of that. I probably need to make it a little more searchable in the help. So maybe I'll take that as an action item. I'll follow this up with some links for folks. I already have some of them documented along the way, but I appreciate that comment. So I'm going to go into an individual customer detail so that we can see where this comes from and how we can edit it. So I'm in creative designs, which again, I'm going to just use ConnectWise Manage as my primary integration source. And this pulled over MRR, number of contacts as employees, et cetera. But I'm going to edit the profile so we can see some of the behind the scenes pieces. That monthly recurring revenue, I currently have based on contracts, but one of the things that I like in Lifecycle is you have the ability to exclude some of the contracts if they don't count toward your MRR. So what we see a lot of folks do is they just align their managed service agreement and they don't include licensing for Microsoft, for example, because it's not as profitable, right? That's sort of overinflating the MRR in that regard. So that's how the monthly recurring revenue populates. You can also elect to do this as MRR per seat if you'd rather kind of norm it for a per seat price. We pull over all of your active contacts. Sometimes if they haven't been cleaned up yet, you might just want to manually overwrite them to endpoints. There are lots of reasons folks adjust that a bit. And that is how, again, we're determining MRR per seat. And then these other pieces we'll look at later. But one thing to keep in mind is I have tagged this client as on my standard services and on some of my ancillary offerings. So just let's keep that in mind while I go look at health metrics next. I'm going to pause because I can see a comment. Customer success is an additional charge, so it's a whole second platform. If you're interested in seeing what it would look like, we do have it on the pricing page. I'll go over that at the end. It's in the middle box, and you have to have it for the same number of clients that you have in VCIO, because obviously we pull all of that data over. If I land in health metrics, so health right out of the gate, again, this is determining whether it's red, yellow, or green. You can see that I've got Smileback CSAT hooked up. You can just say, I just want a CSAT score to populate red, yellow, green. Most folks start with CSAT and then do an audit of whether or not they think they need to add more pieces. If you're a customer success human, then you have strong feelings of why a CSAT score might not be the only thing to determine customer health. A lot of folks will include an assessment, so we can automate pulling an assessment in as a potential score. But really, it's important to think about sentiment and what is the relationship. Every customer success person I know has a strong thought on whether or not this client is a good client for them, and if they believe it's a mutual relationship. Another piece that I think is really important in looking at whether or not, again, health is trying to determine, is this client at risk of churn? Looking at an organizational stability or an org metric is critical. If your partner might get acquired, they could come in with new leadership that could then impact, they might be bringing along their IT department along the way. So to no fault of your own, right, that account could be at risk. If the organization doesn't have strong technology attitude, right? That could be one of the pieces that you look at here. Rick, I'm going to go ahead and allow you to talk. I can see you got your hand up. Go ahead. And you are muted, so you'll have to unmute yourself. I'm going to leave you allowed to talk, Rick, but I don't see you're still muted on my end. Oh, okay. Perfect. Then I'm going to remute and put, I can lower your hand. All right. All good. Okay. So that is looking at the health metrics. Effort works the same way. Again, we typically start with tickets or tickets per seat. Again, that's automated. So we grab them. The interesting thing about tickets, and I was on with one of our partners 2 hours ago talking through the tickets piece. With tickets, you might have a huge client that puts in 1,000 tickets a month, but they've got 100 seats. That's 10 tickets per seat. You might have a 10 client company that puts in 200 tickets and it's actually 20 per seat. So I think looking at tickets per seat is important. And we do some math on the back end to kind of level that out to norm that based on seat size. So that is now I've kind of talked through the automation of getting that customer segment graph to populate and to color. So next up is stack alignment. And frankly, this is, it's interesting. I was showing this to someone who manages a 450 person MSP the other day, and they immediately pinged their project manager and said, why have you never brought this to me before? Like we've been trying to do this for years now. And this makes sense. So I'm looking at it from an individual client. So I'm going to walk through how we got the data here, and then I'm going to show you the end report of that. And Jim, I do see your question. I will promise to get back to that. So I'm in an individual client, and on the back end, I have already set up my stack. So I already know my standard stack, and I already know my maybe a premium security stack and some ancillary services, things like VoIP, printer copier services, things that not everyone would use, but I might want to keep in mind that I would have opportunities to sell through Lifecycle Insights. So I can filter this even by, okay, here's my standard stack. So these are the services I offer. Again, this is completely customizable. So whatever your preferred languages, whatever your preferred products are, you set up at the beginning. And as I go through, I can take notes on why I'm documenting this for the client. It's checked off if it's applicable. Case in point, I was talking to the same person earlier who said, you know, we had to change some things that were applicable for all clients when the companies decided to go fully remote. They didn't need all of the same things, like they no longer had to manage print. So it was not applicable. So you can turn that off if it's not really relevant for that client. And then next up, and this is manual, so we don't automate this yet, but we are definitely in the exploration options here on what we can do. So you can pull up the product that they're using, and you can, we give you a drop down, but you can always add more to this, right? And you can say, this is the product they're using. And then what is your preferred product if they're not using your preferred product? So what you're looking for here is your gaps. I'm definitely preaching to the choir on this. This is exactly what you would want to see. You would want to know that they're using LastPass and you want them to use Cisco Duo or whatever solution makes sense, right? For SSO, I'll say they're using, LastPass, and you want them using Duo. This is where we then can look at the alignment column and say, if they're buying my preferred product from me, they're green. They're fully aligned to my stack. If they have a product, but it's not my preferred product, like that LastPass example, that's partially aligned, right? They're semi-protected, but they're not as supportable or as scalable because it's not my preferred product. or they're not purchasing it from me, right? So if they're getting licenses from something else, they've had an old contract, et cetera, that would be another reason to be partially aligned. And then the red would be not aligned at all. And so that would be they don't have a product which has the most opportunity. So from there, the next column over is agreement inclusion. Is it already included in the agreement and you just need to set up time to implement and train them, right? Maybe you need to do a project to get them moving forward on that. Or is it a brand new opportunity? And from there, you can either create a recommendation for them, right? So I want to create a recommendation around this, or I can link to an existing recommendation. So if I'd already built recommendations out in the VCIO side of the house, you can associate it to it there. That then populates the monthly recurring revenue opportunity and the non-recurring revenue or project one-time opportunity, so that we can get these three tiles at the top. Again, how aligned are they to my stack? What's the monthly recurring revenue opportunity and the non-recurring revenue opportunity? Once you have all of this set up for your clients, the stack alignment chart will populate. And now you really get insights into actionable opportunities and alignment opportunities. I always say fully aligned means they're most supportable, scalable, and secure. So you want them aligned. And it's also the financial opportunity that goes along with this. So if I'm looking here, I can see, if I look at Hogwarts, which is this middle column, I can see they've got a $6,600 a month MRR opportunity. And I can see exactly which services they have aligned or not aligned, and why, what type of financial opportunity there would be with them. I can actually switch this to percentage alignment and see that they're only 11% aligned to my stack. So I hope their wands are working, right? Because they're going to need some magic to stay secure with that. The other pieces around opportunity and the stack alignment chart in particular is in Lifecycle Way, we let you sort, swat, filter the data. And at the top, we'll let you filter this data by a subset of companies, or health, show me all of my companies that are at risk. By my account manager. So maybe I just want to go in and take a look at Alex's accounts, and I can see he's got, 6 big accounts, but he definitely needs to go have that conversation with Hogwarts. But one of the things that folks really appreciate is the ability to define account groups. So what if you said, well, we have a lot of lawyers and a lot of dentists. You can populate this into a law group and a dental group, and then you could look at opportunities for each of those separately. Maybe your lawyers really need to have a conversation around backup, and you can do a marketing campaign or an email campaign around, okay, why law offices need backup solutions. And maybe your dental offices need MFA solutions, and you can do marketing around that. So that's the power of being able to sort and search by a vertical. And you can, again, create any number of account groups. So if you have regions, you could look at like, how's the Southeast doing? That type of thing. So any comments or questions about stack alignment? Mark, it looks like, oh, how do you create those groups? Good question. In account settings, you go into account groups, add new account group, and you can title it whatever you would like. And then as I'm in an account, let me go ahead and look at my foodies. I just added the companies that were associated to it. So these are all of my restaurants. I've associated the 3 restaurants to that, and you can even include account managers with that as well. And from there, any of the charts on any of the pages, you can filter by account group. So that home screen, you can filter by account group, etc. As a matter of fact, I'll click on that home screen just so you can see where those filters are. I didn't click on any of them at the time. So here at the top, I can filter by segment, account group, account manager, etc. And then all of the graphs will update based on that information. I want to go back into customer detail for one more minute. So I've talked through profile, health, effort, stack alignment. Contracts is exactly as you would expect them to be. They're the same as on the VCIO side of the house. Engagement is tracking to the QBR scheduling board. But I really want to talk about goals, because the key piece that we talked about, I said the reason you might want to listen to me talk about customer success is I sold pre-calculus to 16-year-olds. The only way you can sell pre-calculus to 16-year-olds is to make it about the 16-year-old, not about the pre-calculus, right? Or you can be mean, but that's not always my first option, although I can do that if required. So part of delivering customer success for your clients is to make it, customer success, and QBR specifically, about the client's interest, right? What are they most interested in? Because that is how we're going to drive projects. And for sure, I'm quoting Trisha, who is on the call. I'm going to use an example that she used in Lifecycle Insights and shared with us. So I'm going to click into the third goal here, to grow through acquisition. So this particular client, Creative Designs, is focused on acquiring a competitor in the next year and adding at least 2 acquisitions each year following. What did she decide needed to happen because of this? Well, first, need to create a task, need to collect some information in order to determine a stack. So I had to go gather some information from the points of contact, and then outline a proposal for a go forward plan. Specifically, and I can go in and edit this task, wanted to define a technology and security standard for new acquisitions to determine a clearer path necessary infrastructure changes moving forward. And then from here, made a recommendation to develop a playbook around gathering that information. Could also associate contracts and recommendations with, so here I can add a recommendation, I can add a contract about how it will align to the goal. The thing I like about this conversation is, if you think about where this started, their goal is to grow through acquisition. The plan is to define what's going to happen to their technology when they acquire someone new. The conclusion is, when a new client comes along, or a new acquisition comes along, what happens? We're going to automatically rip and replace and create their new technology standard based on our requirements. So we've already pre-sold this project, and we don't have to go back and rehash the conversation because it's aligned straight to the company goal. So that's a really important key, is to track the customer goal, not just the technical project that you're hoping to sell them in the conversation. So instead of coming in hot with a list of things to sell, you're coming in with like, well, here are your goals. Here are some technology resources that can help you solve those goals. When can we send you a proposal? That type of conversation. So that is the bells and whistles of what we have in Lifecycle Insights. I'm going to show you our customer segments page too. It's the same chart we have on the first page, but we're building another report now around momentum, which is how to manage toward effective QBRs. So I'm starting a customer success boot camp on Thursday. So if you already have customer success, it's a free boot camp so that we can dig in and get all of our numbers in here, et cetera. And on Friday, we're going to talk about some of the tracking that we're going to start looking at. We really want to start associating account managers to business reviews so that we can start tracking progress toward, are we moving the needle? So don't just tell me the stack alignment today. Tell me, is my stack alignment increasing as I work with our partners? So these are pieces that are in the works. And in the next 4 weeks, we'll have some exciting release components in the customer success module to grow toward that. If by chance any of that is interesting to folks, feel free to reach out. I'll send all of this out in a follow-up email. So actually, you don't even have to reach out. I will just ship all of it your way. But I want to look at 2 more things. One, since someone asked about pricing, if you are not currently using if you don't currently have the customer success module, I'll show you what the pricing looks like. So customer success is the module in the middle. So as you scale up, the customer success price goes up. It's a little less expensive than the VCIO package. So it doesn't quite double your costs. So you can find it right there if you weren't sure. And then I do want to go back into the slide deck for a minute and make a few more comments. I will include the invite to the Thursday link in the email, and I will get that out hopefully probably won't be close of business today on the East Coast, but close of business in Australia for sure. I can beat that. I'll try to get it out this evening. So some next steps. First, you need to ask yourself what you need, right? I just said it shouldn't be about what you want. It should be about what your clients want. So I would say the same thing. We need to figure out what it is you're looking for to do that will help you move the needle for your partners. What do you need? Do you have a few large clients? And when you look at customer success, you think, I just need that stack alignment. If that's what you're aiming for, you can add on customer success, even with the 5 client package, and build out your stack, right? It'll only show for those 5 clients, but we do have folks that have 3 or 4 really large clients and they need to help manage it, right? To define that process along the way. So it makes sense to start there. That said, if you're aiming to get everyone an appropriate customer success strategy, so everybody, we're gonna decide who's quarterly, monthly, annual, semi-annual, and you have a lot of customers that you need to parse out, then we highly recommend scaling up VCIO first, getting everybody in there. Then after you've put everyone in VCIO, then do the prep and then add on customer success. So what is that prep I'm talking about? I have it listed right at the bottom there. You want to make sure contracts are in the VCIO side of the house. You want to make sure we've got your ticket metrics in there. You should set a cadence. Are they quarterly, monthly, annual, semi-annual, et cetera? And if you're a Smileback partner, make sure you have CSAT plugged in as well. In the boot camp that we're going to do, if you don't have any of these automated, I will also be going through the manual ways you can put these metrics in. But again, if you have a lot of partners and you want to maximize the automation, we really recommend getting this as the bare minimum. The other piece is recommendations, and I should have put that in there. As a matter of fact, it's important enough when I send out the slide deck. I want to make sure that folks have it, is you really want recommendations, because that's going to help populate the opportunity and stack alignment faster than having to go enter it one at a time. So hopefully that helps. I will include this slide deck. I include some resources on the right-hand side. If you are a customer success nerd like myself, there are some good books around customer success and the conversations to have. So I will include that along the way. And then I'm always happy to chat on LinkedIn. So I'll leave that up there and I'm going to scroll through the comments and see if anybody has questions that I haven't answered. It looks like Mark got all of them, but in case I haven't, I'll double check. And then please, if you have any questions for me, add them in the chat. Also, if you're so inclined and you're not a Smileback partner, like I said, we have Crewwho and SimpleSat coming. If you have a different CSAT tool and want to share it in the chat, we'll go add your votes to our product vote board. I am definitely going to add a knowledge-based article on and make sure it's easy to access on how to get all the automated data there. Oh, and thank you. Perfect. All right, I didn't see any new questions. So thanks all for spending some time with us, and reach out anytime if you have questions.